I have always loved Field Notes. Field Notes is something that makes my life tick. I mean, I like literally am constantly all the time using my different Field Notes. In fact, right now, this is my main notebook. And as you can tell, man, it gets absolutely swamped every single day. I like live my life out of these notebooks. So I want to kind of show you my system of how I use different types of notebooks and what I use them for. First, let's talk about my main use. It's these regular Field Notes, the thin notebooks. The reason why I like these is if you can see the difference between like the spiral bound Field Notes and the regular Field Notes is look at the difference in how thin they are. Let me go this direction. They are just so incredibly thin, and then when they're in your pocket, they smash down. Now, I'm assuming that the spiral one, over time, that some of the coiling will get a little bit messed up, because if you look at this, like the coils on this guy, they are pretty round right now. Sorry, I'm gonna get a better shot of that. They are pretty round right now. Actually, I'm gonna show you this pen a little bit later. But they do seem like they might get smushed at some point. And so for me, I like this type of notebook, but I don't like to keep it in my pocket all the time, mainly because these regular Field Notes, they are just so incredibly thin. And so after a little while, I won't even notice a Field Notes in my back pocket like the regular kind. But if I have the spiral notebook, I do notice it in my pocket. And so I don't like bringing this with me in my pocket. I do like to throw it into my backpack, but for me, my go-to constant every day, no matter what, when I leave my house, I have the regular Field Notes. There's also just something I get out of like flipping this guy open and, seeing everything, like just piecing through it. I love reading books, and so this reminds me of kind of the feel of reading my own life book, and so I like that. I don't necessarily like the new the serrated edge so that you can tear out the pages. That is one major benefit of something like the spiral one, is you just want something, you rip it right out, no problem. So as you can see on these guys, it's got this little edge right here, and you can tear these pages out. And that was something that I saw first shown on these like vintage ones that Field Notes came out with. I love the look of this front cover. The look of this front cover is absolutely incredible. It feels so good. I like that it's got kind of that like cross pattern in it. I think, to me, like that with a brass pen, bro, look at that. That looks incredible. So I wish Field Notes did end up putting out this same vintage style, but without that kind of tear out paper. I think that would be more what I'm looking for. So let's real quick talk about what I actually use these different Field Notes for. I have a really cool system. This red one is my everyday carry. I will take this with me everywhere. It gets beat up. That's the point. It's made for like little small thoughts. I've got some like quotes in there that I write in capital letters, things that I want to remember. And then, so that's just like a regular notebook for me. I use it all the time. And then these two are very unique. What I decided to do with my kids is every single year, I'm gonna get them a new Field Notes. And so this one's for my son, this one's for my daughter. And I write down memories, and Field Notes are only like 48 pages. Yeah, 48 pages. So throughout the year, there's like 48 different like hardcore awesome memories and lessons that I want to write down for them. And so every single year, I'm gonna buy them a new Field Notes. And when they turn like 25, I'm going to give it to them, and they'll have 25 different years of lessons and memories. So like when I think of memories, I think that's just a cool thing to do. You should take it and do that with your kids. And then what I'm going to do is some of those memories in here, I'm going to get one of those little printers. So I'll take a picture with my phone and just print out different memories like with the picture, and try to find some non-stick tape and stuff. So I want to make it so that when they're older, they have something to look back on, remembering that their dad loved, physical media, loved physical notebooks, all that. Now, what I use this notebook for, I really like single purpose notebooks. And so in here, I'm wanting to write a book on undistracted faith. I'm a lead pastor at a church, and I want to do a book just kind of encouraging people to live a more analog life, specifically in the life of faith, because people are so distracted now. And so what I'm doing is just kind of like going through here and writing down different ideas. I'm not going to show it to you. I know you're trying to steal my ideas. Just kidding, you're not. Nobody will read this. This will be self-published for me and me only, essentially. And so I just like the idea of single-use notebooks. It's helpful to kind of keep like one thought, one idea in a notebook, because then whenever I want to write, I can go back to this, and I just think that's helpful. And so sometimes what I'll do, I don't know if you've ever read like books about people's daily rituals in the past, but what a lot of people do is they would just go for long walks, have a notebook with them, they'd write all their thoughts out on that walk. And when you have it kind of like topically set out, it just kind of gets your brain working in that mode for the longest amount of time. And so I will use this notebook specifically for this one idea. And I do like it because these little, are they called like narwhal pins? These little pins are awesome because when you have your field notes, it just kind of slips right in and sits right perfectly in there, and it doesn't fall out. You know, I've had this for a while. It doesn't fall out of these guys. If you are a spiral guy, I'll link all this stuff in the description. I would highly recommend this pen. And then the next is my regular journal. Right now I am using this Moleskine journal. I really like Moleskines of the past. This one's a few years old, and so the paper is still pretty good on this guy. I know like the Leuchtturm notebooks have come out. They've got a lot better paper because it seems like Moleskine sold out a little bit. But this is my long-term journal. I write all my thoughts in here. You know, every single morning I try to get together just a couple sentences to like see how I'm feeling, see how my heart's doing, all that kind of stuff. And when I do that, I like to use this pen. This is my brass pen. I'll link this guy below as well. The cool thing about this pen, one, it writes super smooth. It's really weighty in the hands, and so it feels awesome to write with. But here's the cool thing is over time, it's gonna patina in its own, you know, unique way. And so it's gonna look different and better as it ages. That's something I'm super into. So like right now, this thing looks, you know, pretty clean, pretty like nice and shiny, but over time it is going to get a bit more grunge, and I like the grunge. So that's the way I like to use kind of my different notebooks. I like to have different thoughts in different places. I've got my main pocket notebook, my pocket notebook per kid per year. You should really try, you know, tell me in the comments if you're gonna do that, because it's a really good idea, I think. I use this one for my kind of individualized thought process and this for my just daily processing. I love writing on physical notebook paper. It pulls me back into reality. I run a tech channel also, and so there's just this really interesting thing that's happening in me where I long for an analog life, but I've built a business out of a tech channel, and so it just shows me the value of analog living. Hey, like this video if you found it helpful. That really lets me know that I'm kind of helping people out. Sub to the channel if you like these kind of analog living, kind of EDC type of videos. I love that stuff, so I really hope you do too. And let me know in the comments below if you're planning on doing any of the tips from today, using any notebooks like I do. I'd love to kind of create a community around it. So thanks for watching. I'll see you all in the next one.